Well, it all kicks off on Friday when Scotland play the host nation in Munich. It's live on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland.
This summer,
Wonderful goal for Scotland!
It's such an experience to actually be able to support them in such a big competition.
the European dream lives here.
We waited a long time for this. It's going to be amazing, isn't it?
Kicking off with Germany versus Scotland on Friday.
Catch the build-up across the day.
It's absolutely brilliant supporting Scotland.
Sports Sound from 6 at night.
That is massive!
And petty and ill-informed reaction on Off the Ball.
Guten Abend, Herr Cowan.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Scotland the brave, all right!
Bringing UEFA Euro 2024 home. BBC Radio Scotland.
There you go, that was the last time Scotland played Germany. A 3-2 defeat at Hampden in the Euro 2016 qualifiers. A handful of the German starting 11 are in the squad for this finals. Let's run the rule over their class of 24 with German football expert Ben McFadyean, who joins us now. Ben, you're in Germany. What's the atmosphere like?
Hi, how are you doing? Good to speak to you. You know what? I arrived down in Nuremberg yesterday and it's still pretty muted. I've travelled down to Munich and I had my soul tire hanging off the back of my rucksack and I was walking around town. I reckon I was probably one of the first Scotland fans out here. And yeah, it's still very muted. There's a few posters, a few people feeling quite upbeat after the 2-1 win against Greece. But, you know, the 0-0 with Ukraine, I think, has muted the atmosphere a little bit. And what the Germans seem to be saying is, well, we're just going to wait and see what happens. You know, let's see how good the German team really are.
Well, let's get your opinion on how good they really are. Kenny and Moira might throw a couple of questions at you as well. Germany enduring hard times at Qatar and Euro 2020 before that, but things seemed to be improving under Nagelsmann.
Yeah, absolutely. Julian Nagelsmann is a top coach. He's obviously led some really good sides like Hoffenheim, RB Leipzig, Bayern München. He was the absolute dream coach to take over. He's a young player. He's a young coach under 40. Although his own personal career was not particularly impressive as a player, he's something of a tactical genius. He's taken a lot of his knowledge from Ralph Rangnick, who of course was at Manchester United last season, and he's a great innovator, and the side is really pretty decent all round. And you know what? The big surprise is that at the moment the squabbling is about the goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer. I mean, of all players.
Well, Ter Stegen's not particularly pleased. I'm reading some of his comments that he is going to be ditched, you would think, in favour of the old stager Neuer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Neuer had a very bad ski accident last season, and he's been out 11 games out of the 34 this season. So he's missing a bit of match practice, and he's 38 already. But Germany has a fantastic history of goalkeeping. And I think the big surprise has been that Oliver Baumann has been brought in from Hoffenheim in favour of Alex Nübel, who's had an astonishingly good season with VfB Stuttgart.
Let's talk about the rest of the team. Have established they've got some pretty decent goalkeepers there. Where are their strengths?
Well, I mean, essentially Germany's has a very strong team. I mean, you've got some world-class players, including Toni Kroos, obviously won the Champions League. And also Jamal Musiala, a player that was brought up in England but German-born, who's opted to play for Germany, obviously. Ilkay Gundogan, although he's coming of a certain age, will be jousting with Toni Kroos for the main role in the midfield. And then you've obviously got the outstandingly good Florian Wirtz from the champions Bayer Leverkusen, and also Kai Havertz of Arsenal. So basically, across the board, you've got a very, very strong team, including in the back row, Rudiger of Real Madrid as well. So it's hard to pick out a real weakness at the moment.
Yeah, what about strikers-wise? Is it going to be Havertz, or will they go full throttle with Füllkrug up front? What's your thinking?
Well, I think that Julian Nagelsmann's preferred formation is 4-2-3-1, so with one striker up front. At the moment, Kai Havertz would tend to get the first nod ahead of Borussia Dortmund's Nico Füllkrug.
What do you think of that, Kenny, as a striker? Who would you prefer
different.
Scotland to be facing?
I would probably prefer them to be facing Havertz, I think, to be honest. I think the way he plays, and Fulkrug's maybe more of that kind of box striker, and I've already touched on it, where the kind of weaknesses lie sometimes if it's Scotland dealing with the crosses. So listen, they're two top players, you know, and I think it's not even, I think it's a support network to it as well. You know, it's not just about the striker, it's the service you'll get for the Cruces, the Gundigans, the Musialas, the Verts. They're really, really good team. You know, we've said all along, this opening game, as much as it's a real top occasion and you want to be involved, it's going to be a big game for Scotland, a really tough one. And if you can get anything out of it, I mean, the lift we could get from that is it could really carry into these next two games. But it's going to be a tough night. They've got real quality, Germany.
I might be clutching at straws here a wee bit more, but I spoke to Paul Lambert a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about this game, and he said, you know, it might be that the Germans can't handle the pressure of expectation.
Yeah. I think that's something that we're all kind of clinging to. It's like they're not always the best starters early in group stages of tournaments, and then the fact you add in all the extra pressure, the hype, having the last couple of tournaments not gone great for them, they need to deliver at this one, especially at home. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on these guys. It is clutching at straws to a certain degree, because these guys play at the very top level. They handle, you know, Champions League finals. They handle, you know, really big club games across Europe. So it's not that they're not used to pressure or hype, but when we're playing a team like that, then you have to grasp at any straw that's available to you.
What about the expectation in Germany, Ben? Are German football fans expecting them to win it? I know that a home nation hasn't won this trophy since 1984 in France.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Germany have won it twice before, and 3 times before. I apologise. Last time was ironically at Wembley in England. The Germans tend to just sit back and watch a bit. I mean, obviously the tickets have sold out massively. Tickets for this game for Friday are currently around about £500 to £600 if you can get one. And the Tartan Army expected to be out in full force. So the Germans essentially are a little bit wait and see kind of mode. And they're very excited for the tournament. But if their team doesn't do well, then the whole thing's going to flop. So they really do need to soak up the pressure and produce some results. And, you know, that 0-0 against Ukraine just showed what a stubborn, determined team can achieve. And then also remember that Greece went 1-0 ahead on the counter-attack. So Germany can be hit, but it's just a matter of being able to soak up the constant pressure that they're going to put on the Scottish team.
2006, the World Cup, the last big tournament to be held in Germany, the summer fairy tale, they called it there. Ben,
yeah, I was here.
It kind of brought the nation together again, and I know Germany, like much of the world's kind of having hard times economically. Could this be a kind of almost transformative time for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I was here for the World Cup 2006 all the way up to the quarterfinals, and it showed Germany in a completely different light. I'm glad to say it was a very open and friendly country, and a lot of people came away with a very good experience of Germany. And I think, as you say, a bit of a summer fairy tale. I mean, there was a lot of people out on the streets watching the games on huge big screens and things. I remember down in Frankfurt next to the Main, the main river there, hundreds of thousands out there watching and following the team. And, I'd say it was only really exceeded by 2014 when obviously the German team were absolutely exceptional, but that wasn't a home tournament. So the place is ready. It looks really good. I mean, I've been to Nuremberg, I've been to Munich so far, and it's looking good. It's looking like a good tournament, and of course the stadia